this is what you say, this is how you say it, right? That's what Saturday's about. That's what a lot of our other trainings are about, but Monday is, we're trying to build successful entrepreneurs, people that can go out there, run their own business, make money, continue to grow their income, right? Like Shaq said, he had all these legitimate family issues, he still shows up. The other side of it though is, you know, I have no family, I have very few responsibilities. We still have a week left in the month, my income is at 45,000. I'm projected to make 60,000. I've been gone half the month I was in Spain, right? But it takes, it doesn't just, there's a saying in success that you don't float to the top, you don't drift to the top. You have to climb your way to the top mentally and with the work, right? And we all read things on social media. For most people, 10 years ago, before social media, no one had ever, including me 20 years ago, I'd never heard these self-improvement concepts. I'd never heard the goal setting, I'd never heard the cliches. Primerica taught me all those things. Now it's on social media. But there's a difference between being aware of it and then actually doing it, right? So I want to go through this. Everything about Primerica and business ownership is managing self. You got to learn how to manage yourself. And I'm just going to spend a couple minutes on this today because there really isn't anything more important than this in business and becoming a superstar, high quality, super achieving individual, which I'm not saying I'm all those things. I'm just saying we're all in pursuit of that, right? This is the thing. Excess freedom is not always a positive. It can become a positive later in your life, but it is not a positive in the beginning for certain people. When you have a job, see, corporate structures work, employment works. Everything we hate about a job, it actually does work, but it works for the employer. That's why they do it. So what does the employer do? They demand, right? They own you. You are going to get there at a certain time. You are going to produce at a certain level. You can't leave until a certain time. If you do take a break, it's going to be timed. Sometimes it's not paid. You have to ask for permission when you want to go on vacation. If you want more money, you have to go above and beyond, and then you're competing with people in order to get more money. You're constantly in fear, so that creates an environment where people are forced to perform regardless of their feelings. It all works for the employer. So if you want to get out of that environment and you want to succeed on your own, you have to do those, you have to put that pressure on yourself to do all of those things. The reason why I performed in Primerica as a young person is because I was scared of having to go back to a job. And some of the numbers that I'm seeing, some of y'all need to start working on your resumes. Because the freedom that Primerica can give you, especially now because COVID messed everything up and everyone's working from home and we don't have an in-office environment, it's working against a lot of you guys. You got to get better at managing yourself. You have to understand that, see, there's a saying in Primerica, you got to work it like a job and treat it like a business. But we're not working it like a job. And there's a lot of similarities and parallels between what Shaq was talking about, how we take on all these additional roles because people see us as not having a job, but we're supposed to be busier as business owners than people that have a job. If you want to enjoy that income, if you want to enjoy that freedom, it's earned by trading off in the beginning. So habits are everything, right? Shaq talked about this. how you do some things is how you do everything. I'm tired of people saying, oh, well, I just have a problem coming on time. If you have a problem coming on time, you have a lot of other problems too. It's not just that.
Right.
How you do some things is how you do everything. If you're not producing in Primerica, there's other areas in your life that you're probably not producing in as well. That's the way you got to think of it. If you make excuses for yourself of why you're weak in certain areas, then that's a justification. Instead of owning it and saying, I got to get better. And I know everyone's read the book, Atomic Habits. It's a #1 selling book in airports. Every normal person has read it, even if they're not a crazy self-improver. But are people actually doing these things? Remember this, everybody wants 100 licensed agents. Everybody wants to manage a big base shop. But if you can't manage yourself, how are you going to manage other people? The thing about having a lot of freedom, the problem with it is the more freedom you have, a lot of times the less accountability you have. And when people don't have accountability, a lot of them fail miserably. I have RVPs in my business that I do not talk to. I don't ask their numbers. No one in the company knows who they are. And trust me, they're not at the top of the leaderboards. They don't look the part, they don't play the part, they don't make the money of the part. It's because the further you go away from accountability, the less you are going to do, in a sense. So yes, I have freedom, but the people around me in my life, there's an element of accountability. It's not like a boss calling me and saying, hey, did you do this? But I know they're thinking it. I know they're watching. Bruce is watching my numbers. Shaq is watching my numbers, right? And I'm not always going to get a pat on the back when I do something well, but when things start slipping, I know I'm going to get that phone call. Right now, while my house is getting ready, I'm living with my mom. She's watching my habits. I go to the gym 6 days a week. I can't go on Saturday because they open too late on Saturdays and I have to be at the meeting on time, but she's watching. He goes to the gym every day. She knows what time I go to sleep. She knows the shake I'm making in the morning. She knows what I eat and what I don't eat. And anytime I go out to eat with people that are around me, if I eat dessert, which sometimes I do, I'm a huge dessert freak, but this year I made a decision I want to eat less dessert. Anytime I grab that spoon, I take that bite, people call me out on it because there's accountability all around because I've created that image of myself. Shaq and I have recruited thousands of people. If I go hang out at the club, I'm bound to see somebody, right? And I care that even though I haven't seen you in 10 years, I'm not going to give you that pleasure and let you think that I'm slipping. It's just not going to happen. There's accountability all around me, a pressure to perform. People on the leaderboards are watching me, right? So the small things are important. Coming on time, waking up, having a routine. All of these things are going to contribute to you having a stronger business and being a better business person. What's your routine? When do you work? When do you play? When do you work out? When do you read? Disciplined people, successful people don't do things sporadically. They do things at a set time and they work like a machine. That is how you want people to describe you. That is how you are going to give this impression that you're sharp. And you know what? The people that don't have those habits, a lot of times that want them, they'll gravitate towards you because they see that consistency and they want it. Someone sent me a video, and I rarely watch anything that people send me because I have enough stuff that I can watch and listen to, right? But I did watch this one thing. And the guy said, and I don't like stealing people's stuff, so I saw it in a video. He said, nothing builds believers like consistency. And I remember that about myself. Like my brother right now, he's living in the house to help my mom. And I'm living in the house. And he has all these memories of things that I don't, he just remembers a lot of stuff. And he says, man, no, everyone was worried about you. They thought you were gonna be the one that wasn't gonna make money, that didn't have a career, that didn't know what he was gonna do, right? When I was younger, everybody, up until through high school, it wasn't like a year and a half into college where things started to kind of change for me. But I was the one that everyone had the least amount of expectations. But you know what? What I tell young people too, there's only so long that my mom could see me waking up before her, going to sleep after her, always having a book, changing my dress, my attire, my vocabulary, what I talked about, how I acted, before they started to be like, man, he's not making any money, but what can we say? He's just changing everything about himself. And I was just being so consistent when I started Primera. And always remember that habits are not just physical things. There's also habits of thought, right? Your thought patterns. That's why being positive is so important. When I go around family, people ask, hey, so how's work going? How's everything going? Now they say, let me guess, amazing. Because that's what I always say.
Yeah.
And sometimes they say it with disappointment because they want me to say something's wrong.
Yeah.
They're never gonna get it.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about friends from back in the day. I'm talking about my uncles, my aunts, especially my sister, right? Everything's amazing. It's great. Because I'm not gonna fall into that.
Yeah.
Where I'm gonna be complaining and then it opens the door for you to complain. So usually the conversations are short, right? Usually people say something negative and someone else adds on, you talk about it, but I'm never gonna do that.
Yeah.
When things happen, how do you think? What do you say? You always have to have the habit of being positive and optimistic. And things can go wrong, but I don't want to talk about what's wrong. I want to talk about the solution. That's what being solution oriented is. I get it, Mom. This happened, that. How can we fix it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's what it's gonna cost? No problem. That's how you fix problems fast. Managing your activity, getting started early. Shaq always said this. In college, if you didn't wake up and go to the gym in the morning, what was gonna happen? You're never going. And in America, like, people can get this one down. A lot of people can get the gym thing down. They go in the morning, the gyms are packed. But then a lot of people go to a crappy job, right? It's okay, if you're in Primerica, you wanna go to the gym at 6 in the morning, 7 in the morning. But it's not okay if you're going 6 and 7 in the morning and you look great physically, and then you're not doing your activity at a certain time. This is the most important thing, being consistent with your prospecting. Our mentors told us, a business in Primerica, or any business that's having issues, is usually anemic when it comes to their prospecting. Show me your numbers, right? And how you're not happy with them, and we can equate that to what your prospecting is. What is your activity schedule? What is your prospecting schedule? When Sheila was a part-timer as a nurse, she made a commitment, I'm gonna send out 6 messages every day to people about doing an appointment with me. And she was doing that consistently, and that's why she did 5 and 10,000 as a part-timer, working a super full-time job. Your prospecting has to be on point. You have to put in, and we're not in the type of business where you have to prospect for 12 hours a day. What did you always teach us? How many hours a day? 3 hours. 3 hours a day. People get caught up in the news for 3 hours a day. They get caught up on social media for 3 hours a day. You gotta prospect for 3 hours a day. What activity does when you can be disciplined and manage your activity is it creates a positive expectation. If you know I'm making a certain amount of calls, I'm talking to a certain amount of people, I'm doing all these things that other people aren't willing to do, that's when you can really believe in your dream. You can believe in your goal because you know that you deserve it. Mm-hmm. If you're negative about where you're going, it's because you know you're not working. You gotta work, you gotta have a positive attitude. And this is a big one, distractions. So there's a saying, distractions will lead to your financial destruction. I just added in financial, it's really your destruction. People are too distracted, man, especially with the wrong people. When I got into Primerica, I was only around Primerica people. That was my choice. I'm not saying you have to do that. But the outside world was so negative and there was so little belief, I had to put myself in a little bubble of people who thought like me, who believed in me, and I believed in them, who thought that this thing was real. I didn't need feedback from everyone else. It was only going to distract me or kill my own belief and kill my own positivity, right? And I just did not have, I had a lot of friends before Primerica, a lot of acquaintances. When I got into Primerica, it was me and Shaq and the other people, and we were building something together. The wrong things are always easier and feel better. When you are managing yourself, it always feels better to say yes to people. Like Shaq said, you gotta learn to say no. It always feels better to say, yeah, we can do that. Yeah, I can miss this. Yeah, I'll do this later. Or scrolling social media, or watching whatever, or whatever that people do, it's normal that it feels better. The people that are working and working consistently, it's not that that feels better, that's easier for them. They just choose to do the harder stuff faster, sooner, more consistently, right? And then you can enjoy yourself for a little bit. But people have way too many distractions. And then of course, we have to manage ourselves and our self-improvement. When I talk to people, even people that make money, I can tell who self-improves and who doesn't. I used to think when I was young that you had to be this certain kind of person to make money. Now I've realized that some people have figured out the skill of making money, but in other areas of their life, they're complete idiots. I used to think the Primerica way, like, oh, you got to become a better person, then you make money. No, I've realized that you can't just respect people because they have a lot of money. If you want to be full circle, right, you got to make sure that you are putting the right stuff in your brain. So I was taught that the fun stuff like music and social media and movies and TV and hanging out and BSing with people and sports, that's junk food for your brain. Well, we all like eating junk food. I love eating junk food, but it's gonna make me sick. It's gonna make me overweight. It's the same thing. You need nutritional value for your brain. That's reading. That's listening to audios. That's setting your goals. That's sitting down in silence for a little bit and reflecting and thinking about what you need to do. This is what's going to make you a better person. And you have to find the time, make the time in your schedule where you can fit this stuff in so that you can feel better about yourself. You can start to change. I always say this, like I talk on Saturdays for 30, 45 minutes between the introductions and everything else. Today I talk on Mondays for 30 minutes. That's an hour and 15 minutes where I have to present, in a sense, new information and ideas or a spin on old information so it doesn't get stale. This would never happen if I was doing what the average person was doing. And I've gone through phases for weeks at a time or months at a time where maybe my self-improvement was off. And I can tell that it affects my ability to speak to you guys because my brain is it's not working the same way. I can't think of anything. Imagine people do that for years and years and years. You need new thoughts. You need new ideas. You need a different way to think. You need to improve your vocabulary. It all comes from self-improvement. So if we want to get to the next level, and if you really want to be an entrepreneur, like the people you see on social media or the people that you see in Primerica, understand this: when no one's watching, those people are working. They're doing a lot behind the scenes. there was a saying a long time ago, I don't know if Oprah said it or whatever, but she's like, we judge people, you know, on the front of the stage, but not back of the stage. You don't know what's going on backstage. Front stage, that's a performance. You don't know what's going on backstage. So we have a week left. Shaq and I had a